Hello, everybody.
Hey,
All right, so today is Wednesday, the middle of the week, so I know that's Hump Day. So welcome to the Mikestand, everybody. Let's see. So before we get started, of course, before I talk about what's on tap for tonight, Rick, would you like to do an intro?
well, as most people here know, I am Rick Piper of Cross Comics. Um, well, Cross Comics, I think, is sort of obvious with all where I have it all. But yeah, I do my own comics. So yeah, just check out my channel here on YouTube, Cross Comics. Look for the symbol, and if you like what you see, subscribe, and watch a whole bunch of stuff.
All right. So, anyways, huh. Alrighty then. So, we have three people on now. So, um, actually, let me.
So how's your day been?
A little bit hectic, just trying to keep up on everything, catch up with everything, and all that. Um, I just realized that I need to. So let me just do this. I think I was so rushed today that I didn't even. Well, let me try one more time. All right, I guess they're going with a new format here. That's what probably threw me off then. So, anyways,
So what do we have on tap for tonight?
well, I got a couple of articles that I'm going to go over here. Let's see. One's in regard, they're both from Bleeding Full. One's in regard to the educational value of, one's the in regard to educational value of comic books, and the other one is going to be about, uh, going to be
It's going to be about
um,
maybe some sort of manga.
yeah, that's right. My Hero Academia is apparently coming to an end. Rick, why don't you? Why I'm taking care of something here? Why don't you go ahead and see if you Why don't you talk? Why don't you talk about your book a little bit?
Well, this is issue two that people are seeing. Issue three is in the middle of being done, although the artist is saying the script is not detailed enough now and is suggesting that maybe he's not the person for the job.
Hmm.
So I don't know what's going to be happening with that soon. I might have to do it myself again.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass, but hey, if he doesn't want the money, like I'm trying to get him to do some minor corrections for stuff. He's had some thumbnails to go off of, and he's wanting to change things up. So you change things up,
No, no,
and you don't
no.
make it look like similar to what I have. There's going to be corrections to be made,
Huh.
and you don't follow the corrections that I say. I'm going to point out those corrections that you still need to do. But it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what else to say. They're having some trouble pulling up the articles.
No, I'm trying to get this shared. Completely forgot to get this shared on how I normally do, partly because of the fact apparently, apparently, I guess now
YouTube.
they kind of, you know how when you share it, you usually, well, now they have a whole box up saying create post. Um, so it kind of threw me off a little bit here.
Oh,
So that's, I'm like just trying to make adjustments here now. Normally, I like once I kind of get my head out of my rear end here or what have, and I will once I.
hey, goodness, Moon, you really parked the bus on us last night. Who, me or Mike?
Hmm.
And how did one of us do that?
All right. Oh well. Okay. Something's kind of screwy here, but all right. Anyways, what's good night, Spoon saying? You really parked the bus on us last night, you Rick.
Uh, how did
All
I
right.
do
So I
that?
guess I'll just go ahead and pull up the
You're just gonna
article
pull up
again.
the articles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I can probably do one more quick little thing here. I think I can. Let me just do it like. Let me do this part first, then I can just go and do it on all that. I don't
And
know
you
what's going.
talk. Go ahead.
Why don't you have a conversation with Goodnight Spoon
Goodness.
there? Why I take care of this?
Okay. Okay. Well, I will try to. um, so do you mean stuff I did on my channel or in the chat here last night? Good night, Spoon. You informed the opposition of our plans before it were planned. You shared secret messages. Well, I didn't know they were secret messages. So I guess that answers the question. It was over on my channel that I did stuff. Good thing Joshua doesn't come by here, eh? I see you removed my access from that one room too. It's a secret Discord, right? Oh, it's a secret Discord. How many people in this Discord? Five of us? Six?
Okay, let's see. Oh, there we
I
go.
guess that could count as a secret Discord. I didn't know it was supposed to be secret. Well, I guess I sort of did, but I'm not even supposed to be on the internet.
I'm just sharing it right now. But things kind of went a little screwy here,
Yeah.
based on so, you know. But I think I am getting it shared here. So they get this part done here. Then I'll be able to get ready to talk about the news items.
Oh no, maybe there is five. There's Marsupio, Moose Jaws, Metal, myself, and K. You're probably K.
All right.
I don't know how to count.
All right. So let's see. Just the last of the. Okay. All right. All right. So hopefully I'm all done with that now. So, anyways, So why don't we go ahead? We can now go ahead and um, six were we infiltrated. Let's see. I don't know what.
I don't know who that is, but if it were me, I wouldn't tell.
All right. So, anyways, so now let's get to the articles here. Um, Sorry about the delay, folks. Things were just a little screwy. I run a little behind, but now I think we're ready to go here.
And I'm gonna guess before Avi. Oh no, this isn't Avi.
No, this one's not an Avi article. The next one will be, but
Oh
this one is
wow!
so.
I thought the
Uh,
the book one seemed more up his alley.
mhm. The educational value of comic books enhancing literacy and creativity in students. Article by Amy Berger. Guess that's how Ammie Amy Berger.
I
Now,
have
of
no
course,
idea.
I've talked about this before too myself, and I know that they kind of pushed the idea in the movie A Town Torn Apart, starring Michael Tucker and Joe Eikenberry back, I think, in the early '90s. It was a TV movie, so um, they even pushed the idea there at the time. So let's get into this. Although initially written off as mere entertainment, comics, okay, can be powerful teaching tools. Yeah, somebody needs to learn how to use editor.
Yeah,
Comics. Their novel combination of textual and visual components gauges children's interests, improving literacy levels and sparking creativity. This article explores their educational value as teaching aids and ways to incorporate them into classroom instruction um, to maximize students' learning outcomes. Enhancing literacy skills. Comic books offer numerous educational advantages that contribute to improved literacy. Their mix of text and picture can make reading comics much simpler for pupils who struggle with traditional text heavy textbooks. Yeah, I mean, also when they have pictures to look at too, and you have the dialogue boxes, that will grab their attention a bit more because they're just different too, right?
yeah. Well, also it's making to make stuff more entertaining, which is can be
Right,
easier to learn too.
right.
And I don't know
Beginning,
what
go
uh,
ahead.
I was
Finish.
just gonna answer good night's phone. I don't know what our group's called. You
Beginning
made
readers,
this up. Sorry, go
beginning
ahead.
readers, or those working with learning, um, may find comics visual context more straightforward to interpret meaning and comprehend the narrative. Comic books encourage students to read critically and actively by prompting them to be aware of panel order, decipher visual clues, and understand the relationship between text and images. This procedure strengthens their comprehension abilities, while decoding and analysis skills are developed along with decoding oriented dialogue driven writing styles that promote comprehension and retention of vocabulary terms introduced via comics. In case your child needs help writing high quality essays, check out Speedy Paper Review by Expert. So, and we talked about that too, because when we do the historical comic retrospect on Friday nights, right? Talk about some of the words that they used back then they don't use anymore, right?
Yeah,
Or maybe some words that had a different context back then than they do now, right?
yeah,
Right? So,
for sure.
fostering a love for reading. Aspiring readers can cultivate an ongoing passion for reading with comics. Okay, I think you mean comic books. Being a little redundant there. Reluctant readers may become drawn in by their captivating tales and vibrant graphics, which encourage them to delve further into longer text. Comics transform reading from being seen as a chore into an enjoyable activity by providing stories in an eye-catching format, which is true. And
Yeah.
again, point I just made right in the previous um, comic
Well,
book. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
heck, it was one of the things my mom did. She bought me comic books to start to try and get me to read because reading was not something I liked to do as a kid.
Comic. Oh,
That's pretty cool.
was that you or was that your cousin?
That was my cousin.
Howdy.
She came to
Howdy.
get something to drink or something to eat.
Oh. Stuff my teeth.
Comic books provide students with more relevant and enjoyable reading material than traditional reading materials. With superheroes, fantastic journeys, and likable characters, engaging to explore literature and narrative, which of course we've seen all this when at least in the Golden Age books we've seen the anthologies and all that, right, Rick?
Yeah, they used to, I'm not sure whether it be Golden Age or Silver Age. They used to do a lot of movies. They used to put novels into comic book format.
Mm-hmm.
All this sort of stuff. These big long stories into comic book format. And they used to condense. I believe in doing that because, but then again, back then comics were bigger, so they might have had enough pages. A 22-page book would not be big enough to do something like Gulliver's Travels or,
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, they did that with cartoons too, because I know Fleischer actually produced the Gulliver's Travels movie back in 1939. So that's considered a bit of a classic, although it ended up bankrupting them. But other than that,
Yeah. Well, those are just ones that came to the top of my head. I know there's other ones that have been done in comic book form and cartoon animation.
yeah. So once students habitually read comics regularly, they may become more likely to search out additional reading materials, thereby broadening their literacy horizons and improving their reading abilities overall.
Well,
Look at
that
you
was
see the
definitely
little
me.
girl. See the little girl there reading a Scooby Doo comic.
Yeah. Scooby Dooby Doo, looking for you. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you?
Stimulating creativity and imagination. Comic books creative qualities foster innovation and challenge pupils to think creatively. Comics ingenious narratives, unique characters, and captivating worlds may inspire students to produce original artwork or stories based on this creative process, helping to increase original ideas, artistic ability, and narrative skills in this way.
And no, I'm not high. Good night, Spirit. I'm just weird as normal.
Let's see. Comic books provide educators with a creative springboard for working with students in the classroom, which we saw in that movie I was telling you about before, the Town Torn Apart.
Yeah.
Engage your students by asking them to compose their own comic strips, which isn't that what Chris and Diana do? Isn't that one of
Yeah,
their little?
they're doing something similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so create original characters and develop original ways of ending well-known tales. Not only are such exercises engaging, but they also help increase creative abilities while honing writing and creative abilities.
Now, that's the one thing I'm not sure whether I would encourage is creating new ending tales for well-known tales.
Hmm.
It was up there about creating new endings
Yeah,
for
I know,
well-known tales.
I know. I read it, so I'm aware.
Yeah.
Any particular reason why you want to expand on
Um,
it?
I think it's just it, I guess there's a place for it because we you do see the what ifs and the alternate universe in DC and Marvel, type stuff. But I think you end up, it's a rocky road because you could end up with a lot of the people that are doing the crap that they're doing in comic books today
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
rewriting
I mean,
history.
it's kind of funny that you say that because that actually happened across my mind too. As you were saying it, that kind of crossed my mind as well. So,
Yeah.
you
It,
just,
it's a slippery slope. So it's one that needs to be managed in doing something like that. Like, because do you want to rewrite the ending to Gulliver's Travels, Lord of the Ring, all the various other, literary tales that you can think of? They're trying to do that nowadays with history.
Mhm.
And you can't
I
rewrite
mean, I
history.
mean, it's one thing. It's one thing if you. It's one thing if you add to the story when you do that. It that'd be a great thing. Like um, you know,
Adding extra tales,
you
yeah, maybe.
get fanfics from, right?
Yeah,
Maybe you do create a line in the multiverse where, like for example, in Naruto, which is more a manga, but like in Naruto, there are a lot of people who they call Narusaru shippers. In other words, people who thought that Naruto and Sakura, or yeah, Narusaka, yeah, Naruto and Sakura should be together instead of Sakura and Sasuke. Um, but
yeah,
so I mean, it is good if you want to explore, like if the idea is to explore, like what you're talking about with the what if stories, like what if this happened, what if this particular lane went this way, right?
yeah,
That stuff can be fun, but like as what you're talking about with what people are doing, they feel they have such a license, they just ultimately just completely just go against the very origins of the story to begin with, or or when you just try to reinvent the wheel, as it were, then
yeah,
then that does become a bit more of a problem. I mean, as I said, it's one thing to take the history of a character from a certain point and then add to it by adding, by going with a different ending or what have you. But it's another thing to try to just change the story, fully from the very beginning.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he was gay all the time. Um, yeah. Anyways, let me.
Supporting multi.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Rick. Just
Okay, I wasn't sure whether you were.
yeah, well again
I
my
see you wrote in the chat again, so.
starts saying one, so um all right, well, anyways. All right. Anyways, getting back to the article here. This next part. Supporting multimodal learning. Comic books are by nature multimodal, including literary, visual, and sometimes audio components. Um, as multimodal learning materials can accommodate the widest variety of learning styles and um, increase the accessibility of instruction for pupils. Comic books can support visual learners by improving comprehension and retention of information. And I need to go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. Rick, you want to talk to the chat a bit while I'm gone? I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Okay, Goodnight Spoon was saying a little bit. I have that form of dyslexia too. Spell checker doesn't catch super fluties. Okay. Uh, but yeah, Goodnight Spoon. What our group called? I don't know. Like I said, you invented this group to go against the cult of Raven. So, and to you, or decide what is the purpose of the group besides going against the cult of Raven and all that. You have to figure all that out, and then maybe let us know.
All right, I'm back now, so let's get back to the article here. Add comic books to the curriculum for enhanced and diversified learning. Educators may utilize comics in numerous ways to accommodate students with various learning styles and aptitudes. For instance, science comics may help visually explain complex ideas, while historical comics provide captivating stories about historical events, increasing both the effectiveness and inclusivity of learning for every student involved.
Teen Titans probably go, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, it looked like they even have Raven in a bathing suit there.
No, that's Raven's outfit.
Somebody's there dressed as Wonder Woman, it looks like. I thought it might have been Raven, just from the looks.
No, you've got Beast Boy, Raven, Cyborg, Robin. Oh, that might be Wonder Girl,
Possible.
a younger or a young version of Wonder Woman.
Bridging cultural and language barriers. Comic books can be an indispensable classroom tool in helping overcome cultural and linguistic hurdles. Thanks to their universally engaging graphic narratives, comics are an educational resource um, for children from varying backgrounds. Comics provide context for English language learners, ELLs, that allows them to comprehend better and interpret content. Furthermore, their visual signals make language acquisition more accessible and enjoyable by adding ELL students in, or by aiding ELL students in understanding words and phrases more easily. Comic books often portray diverse cultural viewpoints and experiences, providing teachers with an excellent opportunity to build cultural understanding and exposing pupils to comics from many cultures.
Well,
Such
they
as,
once did. They're not doing that so much anymore.
yeah. Such exposure will help children appreciate diversity and cultivating global perspectives. Promoting critical thinking and analysis. Reading comic books requires more than passive consumption. It also necessitates analysis and critical thought from students.
It depends on the comic that you're reading.
Hmm.
If
Students,
you're,
okay, go ahead,
uh,
Rick.
I was just saying, if you're reading Batman, it might take some of that. But if you're reading Archie, probably not.
Hmm. Students must understand story structures, character development, um, themes, and visual interpretation, as well as interpret textual elements. This approach to comic book reading fosters deeper engagement with content and higher order critical thinking. Comics offer, educators a tool for encouraging critical thinking and literary analysis in students. By studying how ideas and messages weave throughout a narrative, how alternative panel layouts impact the plot, or the visual components artists use to set mood or tone, educators may help their pupils develop greater analytical capabilities while developing a more sophisticated grasp of narrative. Integrating comic books into the curriculum. Teachers must consider incorporating comic books into their curriculum to maximize their educational value. Um, Integration may take many forms, um, assigning assigning tasks related to comic book content, using comics as supplements for traditional textbooks, or even combining comics into cross-curricular initiatives. Teachers can utilize graphic novels in literature lessons to explore themes and tales that go well with classic works. Historical comics provide a visually appealing way of studying critical historical events and personalities. Science instructors may convey complex ideas through instructional cartoons. More clearly, comics may be utilized by instructors to improve learning results and student engagement in numerous areas. Conclusion. Comics offer far more educational value than simply being entertaining. Comic books can be an incredible asset to education by increasing literacy levels, encouraging a love of reading, stimulating creativity, aiding multimodal learning environments, and breaking through cultural and language barriers while promoting critical thinking skills um, when strategically integrated into curricula. Comic books are powerful energizers um, that energize students while improving learning experiences for all involved parties. So there we go with that one. We'll get to this next one. But before I do get to this one, I do need to step away from the computer again one more time. But Rick, how did you think of the what did you think of the article there?
Oh, not bad. It was actually better than what I thought it was going to be. Like I said, at first I thought it'd be an Abby article, which he might be doing a little bit tear down of it, but um, the person that did it, I think, did a real good job. Um, I think they made some good points. There were some, things that, like I said about that need to be iffy of. I'm not sure so much about some of the critical thinking that the person said about, but eh.
Hmm. All right. Well, why don't you talk to Goodnight Spoon in the chat for a moment while I step away for a moment?
uh Are you still here, Goodnight Spoon? You're saying, say, what about my tub? I don't know what about your tub. Your tub is hopefully in your bathroom at home, unless you just have a shower, not a tub. Uh, so what else can we say? I don't know what we can say. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Sir Lion. I don't know. Toss him overboard? On the dry land, of course. We wouldn't want to toss him overboard into the water because then he would drown, and that would not be good. Because I doubt a drunken sailor could swim very well. He might not even realize he's underwater. Although you would think it would wake him up or sober him up real quick. throwing him in the drink. What else is there to talk about? Well, we wait for Mike to come back. I don't know. I don't think the next Queen is here. He's not talking. I'm talking to myself. Or maybe Mike can hear me in the background. Hello, kitty cat. Kitty cat is wanting some petting.
Sure you are.
There's my cousin's kitty cat, Pookie Bear.
His name is Pookie Bear.
And it looks like he's trying to get down.
Pet his cheek. Pet his cheeks. No?
No, he still wanted down. He just wants to be petted from the floor. Or he probably just wants some extra food. Yeah. Bump, 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 bump. So I wonder if anybody else is here. I doubt it.
All right, so I'm back now. Sorry about that. And some more. But now let's get down to this article. And this is the article. Popular manga series My Hero Academia comes to an end. The RDOAS reports the manga series My Hero Academia is coming to an end about a decade after it first launched. Now I'm coming down to from the article itself here. After 10 years and 430 chapters, the story of Deku and My Hero Academia has come to an end. The shonen, which is one of the most... Were you about to say something, Rick?
No.
All right. Was one of the most popular and important manga series of the last decade. And the most important mangakas of the world did not take long to say goodbye with a series of messages and illustrations reminiscent of those made after the death of Akira Toriyama. The community of artists in Japan could not be more united, and their support for each other could not be more beautiful and inspiring. Specifically today, we bring you the farewell of Eiichiro Oda, who was one of the first to say goodbye to Boku no Hero. Although his message was in a joking way classic for him, his drawing was one of the most exciting and symbolic. Quote, "Now you can play Pokemon Go as much as you want. Thanks for 10 years of hard work," unquote, the author wrote. He accompanied his words with an illustration of Smoker, who was inspired by an identical illustration made by Kohei Horikoshi at the age of 15, when he was not yet the manga behind My Hero Academia, but a simple fan of One Piece. The fact that Oda remembered and returned such a sign of respect in one of those details, that touches the heart. That makes it another example of a manga where a writer feels that times come to end it on a good note, or a realization the series can hold up better if there's a conclusion. Something mainstream USA comics creators likely haven't understood yet. Oh boy. Again, this is one of the things I do kind of disagree with him you know, you're talking about one thing, and then he just has to take jabs at Marvel and DC. I don't think the jabs at Marvel and DC are necessary here.
Yeah.
Just talk about how good this, talk about this comic. Don't be sitting there utilizing this story to take jabs at DC and Marvel. You know,
Unfortunately, it's an Avi trait in his articles that his article is about one thing in particular, and he has to try and find a way to take a jab at something else that's not even related. Now, I can see Marvel and DC being somewhat related, and the fact that they have ongoing titles. Well, people like the ongoing titles, um, and who knows? This one thing from My Hero Academia could be coming to an end, but they could do a new thing with it. Like I'm not sure. This is probably just the whole of his schooling. This
yeah.
My Hero Academia, right? So maybe now they could do a one where he's My Hero out of academia. I'm not sure how he'd put it, but you get my
So,
point.
so, anyways, moving on here. When will Marvel DC come to realize the time's come to wrap things up on products they're destroying, and will continue to do so until they're bought out by a better run business, or until their cast of characters all enter public domain. Many
Yeah, well,
manga. Go ahead.
I was going to say the problem with Marvel and DC is they were doing good for 60 plus years. It's just when they started to get the woke crap put into them that
Over the last 10 years or so,
10 to
right?
20 years, yeah, depending on who you ask, that they've become worse and totally almost unreadable.
Hmm. Many mangakas are certainly doing a much better job, mostly based on how the stories are creator owned. And that's the end of that article. So, what did you
Oh,
think of
wow.
that one?
That was short for a Navi one. But yeah, maybe the fact that they are creator owned running characters that might help. But I'm not sure whether I know there's even longer running ones for manga. Like I think One Piece has run a lot longer, and
Mm-hmm.
what's the name of it? Dragon Ball. Has that? I don't think that's been the same writer for both of those for the whole thing. That has,
Akira Toriyama was the one who created Dragon Ball. He basically worked on it all the way up until his death earlier this year.
yeah, but there's been what 4 or 5 different iterations of Dragon Ball, and I guess he's had a part in each one. Was he the writer on each one? What like I said, I don't know.
Um, yeah, I think.
Maybe
Well, I think the GT one he may not have been a writer on, because GT is the one that got a lot of flack. But of course, Meadow would probably know this a little bit more than even I would. So,
yeah, like I'm asking questions. I don't know the answers. I'm not even sure whether you know the answers offhand. You know, um, like I said, and I know there's a few other longer run ones as well, but I don't know the answers to some of my quote unquote questions. They're somewhat rhetorical because I don't know the answer, and I'm not sure whether you do, but you do know, fine. It's just Marvel and DC. That's the problem is they do go through different writers fast and change writers. You know, um, and then they want to they become agenda driven instead of a story driven. Where I think the manga guys, if it's it might be somewhat agenda driven if the creator has an agenda, but at the same time, it's can be story driven because he knows how to do a good story. Who knows maybe the
mm,
story he wants to tell. He or she.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna move on to the wrestling wrap now, as
Okay.
there is some news coming. So some of the news coming out of WWE includes the one piece of news is that apparently now Bash at Bowling, which is at the end of the month here on the 30th, I believe. They're talking about a possibility of a strap match being signed between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre as they continue their feud. Apparently, this stems from CM Punk, trying to get some revenge on Drew McIntyre for some of his stuff he's been pulling recently. CM Punk on this past Monday Night Raw, I guess whipped as JR would put it, whipped Drew McIntyre like a government mule. So there's that, and also talking about last night's NXT program. In a match for the NXT Heritage Cup title, Charlie Dempsey defeated No Catch Republic, defeated Tony D'Angelo to become the new NXT Heritage Cup champion. Lexis King defeated Eddie Thorpe. Lola Vice defeated Tatum Paxley. Oba Fernie retained the NXT North American title over Otis. Izzy Dame defeated Brinley Reese. And in the main event saw for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Chase U of Andre Chase and Ridge Holland defeated the former champs Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So, and also from last night, I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened on last night's Power from the NWA. NWA's Power last night. Saw in a tag team match in the opening match on the card, you saw Knox and Murdoch of Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch defeating Champ Matthews and Charles Bison. In a match for the national heavyweight title, Tom Latimer retained over Silas Mason via DQ. In a match for the World Women's Tag Team Championship, NWA World Women's Tag, the champions King Bees of Charity King and Danny P defeated the duo of La Rosa Negra and Ruthie J. And now moving on to AEW. First off, in the news portion of AEW, the news portion of AEW, of course, one half of the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo. He went on social media to kind of indicate that he and his brother Ray were not going to the WWE. Their contract is up at the end of the year with AEW, but people have been speculating that they might head to the WWE. He went on social media to kind of dispel some of those rumors. But this could all be a ploy. As right now, I don't think there's some talk too that because he was out injured for a while, AEW may add time to his contract. So we'll just be waiting and seeing there. Let's see. So now for tonight's Dynamite, on tonight's edition of Dynamite, you'll have Mercedes Moné defending the TBS title against Hikaru Shida. Jay Lethal will be taking on Adam Page as This came up after what happened on last week's Dynamite, in which Adam Page attacked Jeff Jarrett after Jarrett's match with Bryan Danielson in an Anywhere Goes match. Now, why Page attacked Jarrett, I don't know. Nobody's really explained why. In a three-way match, Roderick Strong takes on Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. In a match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the Young Bucks will be defending the titles against the Acclaimed. And in a non-title match, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland takes on Wheeler Yuta in his mind to try to send a message to Bryan Danielson to show him what he's in for come the 25th at AEW's
Event.
event, right? All in Wembley Stadium in London. So with that, now we will go ahead and move on to this day in each history. Today being Wednesday, April 14th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! Oh. All right, so first off, we're going to head back to 1999, 25 years ago today. And on this date in 1999, WCW held its WCW held its Road Wild event at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, on this date back in 1999. The main event saw Hulk Hogan retain the WCW World Heavyweight title over Kevin Nash in a retirement match. Goldberg defeated Rick Steiner. Sid Vicious defeated Sting. Chris Benoit retained the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship in a no DQ match over Diamond Dallas Page. In a match, in a tag team match, a 6-man tag match, representing Revolution, Shane Douglas, Dean Malenko, and Saturn defeated the West Texas Rednecks of Bobby Duncombe Jr., Kurt Hennig, and Barry Windham. In a match for the WCW World Tag Team Championships, Harlem Heat defeated Canyon and Bam Bam Bigelow to become the new WCW Tag Team Champions. And then in the opening match, the opening 6-man match of the evening, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr., and Billy Kidman defeated Vampiro and the Insane Clown Posse of Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. So that happened on this date in 1999. 1999 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date in 1999, Digimon Digital Monsters made their Fox Kids premiere on this date in 1999. So on this date back in 1999, Digimon Digital Monsters made their Fox Kids debut on this date back in 1999. And 1999 is just so nice that we're not just going to hit it twice, but we're going to hit it thrice. As also on this date in 1999, over in Japan, premiering a movie Team and Akihabara, Summer Vacation of 2011, as well as Revolutionary Girl Utena, The Adolescence of Utena, both premiered on this date back in 1999. So on this date back in 1999, Cyber Team and Akihabara, Summer Vacation of 2011, and Revolutionary Girl Utena, Adolescence of Utena, both premiered over in Japan. Now, interesting thing, as I mentioned the other night when we were talking about the passing of Rachel Lillis, one of the roles in English that she did was Utena in the Revolutionary Girl Utena anime. So
Cool.
they did dub it into English. If they dubbed the movie into English, it would have been likely her as well. So, and finally, moving ahead to 2019. On this date in 2019,
Only a mere 5 years ago.
yep, 5 years ago, the 20th issue of Archie and Me Jumbo Comics Digest went on sale on this date back in 2019, 5 years ago today. It sold for $6.99, 192 pages, and had a whole bunch of stories in there. Look at that.
Yeah.
A monstrous anthology, to say the least. Anyways, with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. And before we head out, of course, Rick, would you like to do an outro?
Just for anybody that's listening that's not been here before, just go over, check out my channel, Cross Comics, over here on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't have a link at the moment, but yeah, just check it out. I think you'll like it if you like what's going on here. And yeah, if you like it, subscribe and watch as much as you can.
All right, then. Well, with that being said, I thank everybody for being here. We'll be back here tomorrow with more Geek News. And, of course, Rick will be joining me Friday, as we'll be taking another trip down Comics History Lane, as we'll be taking a look back to March 1940. This week, focusing in on books that went on sale from Fiction House. Of course, we'll be likely reading, of course, some Sheena of the Jungle, Stuart Taylor, and Weird Stories of the Supernatural, among other things. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.